going to talk about calculated color names. I'm going to open an old draft that I made in different weaving software before TempoWeave existed. I'll click Open, Recent Designs, and I have this Advancing Network old design here. So it was made in different weaving software, and this palette was what was saved with that weaving software when it was done. And you'll notice these color names with asterisks. When there's an asterisk there, that's a calculated color name that TempoWeave has a database, and they try to get a name that's close to the color. And you can see that as you hover up here too, the color names. Medium violet red, for example, or dark magenta with the asterisk. So that's all that means when you see that. And maybe you have friends sharing drafts with you, or you get them from another source. You're likely to see that when you open a draft in TempoWeave. Remember that these colors came out of the draft, not out of a TempoWeave palette. So this is a scarf that I wove years ago, and I want to prepare it so that it can be woven again. So the first thing I want to do is use TempoWeave's function of color lines so that I can put the actual yarn names and colors in there. So to start that, on the Tools menu, there is the yarn catalog. This was Jagger Spun Zephyr. So when I highlight this and do Add Selection to Palette, it warns me if I want to replace my current palette. Yes, I do. And now I can just close this panel for Yarn Catalog. So now when I hover, I see actual color names from the Jagger Spun Zephyr line. Now up here, I still have those calculated color names because they're still in my design. So we have to decide what we want to use out of here and replace these. So that's pretty easy to do. I can take this reddish color, right click, do color swap. Now I get a yarn color swap panel, and I want to select everywhere this color is used in both warp and weft. So I click the all button, or it's pre-selected for me, and these are the colors that are in the warp. So I'm going to scroll down, and I know that this was done in Cinnabar. So I'll select Cinnabar, and it's a little different from the original design, but this was the real yarn used. So now it's changed, as you can tell. So I will simply go through and replace everyone. This one was Curry. I'll scroll down. Notice the scroll bar on the right, and I can select Curry. The light yellow was called Daffodil. And finally, this more purple color was Iris. Now I have the colors. I can hit the V for view, and that's what the scarf looks like. Now this one is you can see that this one would be a challenge to wind because of the frequent color changes. So let's see what TempoWeave recommends for a warp winding plan. On the project menu, there's a shortcut for this. And if I were going to do this scarf again, I would print this out and take it to my warping board or reel. Now TempoWeave, when it sees several repeating colors alternating in a row, it's going to recommend that you might want to hold those together to wind them. So where we have the Cinnabar and the Curry, rather than tying them off every time, you're going to hold them together and do 7 wraps for 14 total ends. Then you would do the Cinnabar and the Daffodil for 3 wraps for 6 ends, etc. And of course you get down to some of those, it's just one single color. So this one will take a while to wind the warp chain. So what I would do is just check off each section as I did it and knot the ends together to the next color or 2 colors as I wind them. So that is a review of the color palettes. When you see the asterisk, you know it's a calculated name just based on the RGB values. And you certainly can, when you pull up a design where it's not using the TempoWeave yarn lines, you can always easily replace those to get the real color names, which can be very helpful.